Big news in the housing market as well. Existing home sales this week plunging to the lowest levels in nearly a decade. New home sales hitting a record low as well. What does this mean for you if you want to buy or sell? Or what does it mean if you're just a homeowner overall? We have an expert on all things real estate coming up. She's going to take your questions, so send them to us by clicking on the live chat link right there on the foxnews.com homepage. Well, with all that international news, we also have to keep in mind one of our biggest domestic issues, what's happening with the housing market. Some say it's a buyer's market. So what do you do if it is? What if you own a home, you want to upgrade? Maybe you're looking for an investment. Housing guru Dani Babb is here to take your questions. It's not too late to get them to us on the live chat. Just go on the link on the homepage to foxnews.com/happeningnow. America's asking. Well, a business alert for you now. The government this morning saying that the U.S. economy grew at a faster pace than expected at the end of last year. The Commerce Department saying GDP, gross domestic product, rose a little bit more than 3%. That's an annual rate in the fourth quarter. That's slightly better again than what was expected. But there's a warning. Many economists have scaled back their forecast for growth in the current quarter we're in, the first 3 months of the year. And we've gotten, well, some negative news about the housing market this week. So we're taking your questions on the real estate market. Go to foxnews.com/happeningnow if you have a few of them while we're talking about it. Dani Babb is a real estate analyst, CEO of the Babb Group, and she's been on the chat, even seeing what our viewers have a lot of questions about the real estate industry. And the major one is it over? Is this big housing crisis, are we nearly out of the woods yet? How would you answer that?
I would say we are not even close to out of the woods.
Really?
Maybe a double dip in housing, particularly in the higher end markets. Foreclosures are actually increasing in number. Median home prices dropping and sales are dropping. Those are not all good signs for the housing market.
Well, some would say, hey, these foreclosures need to go through. We need to kind of purge the system of all of this overbuying. So is that do you not buy that part of it being a good sign that maybe we're seeing some of the foreclosures?
I think that's helpful. The moratorium obviously pushed us back a few months, maybe even up to a year or two. So once we can move through that, yeah, I think that'll be positive overall.
So what do you see as a timeline for really being out?
5 years, 7 years, maybe.
Which is interesting because that's Ben Bernanke, the Fed chairman, recently said as well that as far as the job market returning to normal, seeing basically the same time horizon. So many questions about what to do if you're relocating because of a job. Andrew in the military is relocating obviously because of his work. He wanted to know, is right now a time to buy if he has the opportunity, or should he still rent?
My big concern for him was how long he's going to be able to stay. The area was Florida. There's some great deals in Florida right now, but if you can't stay there for 2 or 3 years, you run the risk of running into lower prices yet. And he may try to leave, need to be redeployed again, and not be able to sell his home. So I would rent there.
You'd still rent. Does it really apply across the country right now? Is renting being preferable or no?
No, actually rents are going up an average about 5% per year right now. So landlords are pretty happy. And that's simply because people are trying to buy and they can't. The mortgage market is still frozen to a lot of buyers, particularly those that own their own business.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with those rates being so low, it's hard to look at those rates and not get approved for a mortgage or want to get approved.
To want to get approved, absolutely, but it's still requiring 20% down, tighter credit scores than ever, tighter credit standards, which is overall positive for the market, but it means a lot of people are really locked out. And the strategy that we would use to pay down our debt is not the same strategy we would use to increase our credit score.
So what would you do?
And rather than paying off, for example, if you have a 20% card or a 10% card, generally you'd think pay the 20% card first and then the 10. That doesn't work that way for your credit score. You want everything to be lower than 50 or 30% of the available credit. So you would pay 150, 150, 150, and then move again across the board to help your credit score. Interesting.
Joe had this question about just advice to any first-time home buyers that are in that great position that they can shop right now.
Absolutely. First of all, it's kind of like dating, you know, don't be attached to one. Go out and find the best that you possibly can, because if you make one offer, there's a really good chance that the seller is going to refuse it. Sellers still have unrealistic expectations about being able to get their full asking, and they're just not. So offer 10 to 20% lower. If they don't like it, move on. And don't be attached to one home. Look for neighborhoods that are stable but not new. New is a bad sign for us right now. It means that we're potentially overbuilt.
Interesting. Like dating.
Exactly.
But different.
Like dating.
I know you have some more
Maybe
tips.
More fun.
Maybe more fun buying a house. Well, we'll let our viewers decide about that. You have a couple great tips for us. If you could, we'd love to have those on the chat right now, and some of our viewers can talk with you maybe directly about that.
Sure.
So we'll direct them to foxnews.com/happeningnow. If you have any questions for Dani, she's going to be there. John, over to you.
Hey, just got an offer yesterday on my brother's condo that I helped renovate, so it's looking up.